Okay, good morning and welcome to Advent of Code Day 2. Yesterday was a nice challenge to say the least. Really not common for like day 1 to have a pretty a day 2 that takes some thinking and actually a bit of a challenge. So that was, yeah, it was nice. I liked it. For day 2, yeah, let's just start and read the problem set. Day 2, Cube Conundrum. You're launched high into the atmosphere. The apex of your trajectory just barely reaches the surface of a large island floating in the sky. You gently land on a fluffy pile of leaves. It's quite cold, but you don't see much snow. An elf runs over to greet you. The elf explains that you've arrived at Snow Island and apologizes for the lack of snow. He'll be happy to explain the situation, but there's a bit of a walk, so you'll have some time. They don't get many visitors up here. Would you like to play a game in the meantime? As you walk, the elf shows you a small bag and some cubes, which are either red, green or blue. Each time you play this game, you will hide a secret number of cubes in each color in the bag, and your goal is to figure out information about the number of cubes. To get information, once a bag has been loaded with cubes, the elf will reach into the bag, grab a handful of random cubes, show them to you, and then put them back in the bag. You'll do this a few times per game. You play several games and record the information from each game, your puzzle input. Each game is listed with its ID number, like the 11 in game 11, followed by a semicolon separated list of subsets of cubes that were revealed from the bag, like 3 red, 5 green and 4 blue. For example, the record of a few games might look like this. Game 1, 3 blue, 4 red, 1 red, 2 green, 6 blue, 2 green. Okay. The semicolon in here is like a separate reveal. So here you have 3 blue, 4 red, 2 green, 6 blue, so you have 6 blue, 4 red, 2 green. So that gives you some information about like the max number that you see. I think that's where they're going here. In game 1, 3 sets of cubes are revealed from the bag and then put back again. The first set is 3 blue cubes and 4 red cubes. The second set is 1 red cube, 2 green cubes, 6 blue cubes. The third set is only 2 green cubes. The elf would first like to know which games would have been possible if the bag contained only 12 red cubes, 13 green cubes and 14 blue cubes. Okay. In the example above, game 1, 2 and 5 would have been possible if the bag had been loaded with that configuration. However, game 3 would have been impossible because at one point the elf showed you 20 red cubes at once. Similarly, game 4 would also have been impossible because the elf showed you 15 blue cubes at once. If you add up the IDs of the games that would have been possible, you get 8. Determine which games would have been possible if the bag had been loaded with only 12 red cubes, 13 green cubes and 14 blue cubes. What is the sum of the IDs of the game? Okay, so for part 1 it's pretty straightforward. I think for part 2 you will have to actually do what I said and like keep track of the highest number or something. So yeah, let's start and parse this stuff. I'll just take a few as actually I can take the test input as an example for now. First we need to create the new day. So we copy day 0, we name it day 2. Day 2. And we set the base, that is fine. And here we do input this and we override it. Let's do that and let's override this. So to parse this, we will get input.split split by, and we can do like this, and then we can do as I have like an extension to cause these things. Yeah, it's just an as, okay? So this will be this will be a int for the ID, and then boom, boom, boom. And then we will have a that will be harder to parse. Let me just say. I'll just leave it like this for now. Doesn't this work? Something like this. It's been a while since I used this. Like string does not contain a thing for as type of string. Okay. You know what? Let me just remove this and just do it like this. So we do x dot. This will be the first part, so we do x dot split 1, and we parse this as int dot parse. So this will give us the first index, and then we do x dot split by, actually, like this. I'm just thinking if this is the easiest way to go about this, because it will become pretty annoying. Let's do it a different way. We have input as lines, 2 lines. I can't really need to remember the name of my helper functions. So for lines, or actually games, it's this, and then so we have int ID. We have like an RGB list int red, int blue, int green. Let's keep the RGB border. Red, blue, green. Showings is new. So then we can return this as a set of data. We do int ID. Okay, so that satisfies the data, and this will be okay. So we have string for parts is raw split by, and this will be the first part. So ID will be is int.parse. This will be parts 0 dot split. Why is it complaining? Parts is not null here. Cannot apply index enumerable. Okay. To array. To array. Okay. Dot split. This can be split by space, and we take the second value. So this will be, this first section will be game with the ID, and then we take the second part of that ID. Now we need to parse the other things. So we will have for each string showing raw in parts 1 dot split by. This will be split like this. Okay, and then we do fine. We can do showing raw split by like this. Right. And now we will have 3 sections, but we'll have to see if it's red, green, or blue. So we do here int rbg const blue is name of blue. This green is name of green. Red is name of red. So this is basically, because it's spelled the same way, I can just use name of for the variable names. So now we do parts dot for each string part and parts, switch parts. We need to split that as well, by the way. So string show parts. So we do show parts is part of split space. Now we have a delimited, like the first value will be the amount and the second will be the key. So now we can do switch show parts 1 case red like this. We can omit the accolades here just to make it a bit more. So we do blah blah red, green, blue, default, throw new application exception. We don't support color cube color blah, and this will be show parts 1. So in this case we will do r is int.parse show parts 0. Like this. And now we can do showing sub add, and then we do RGB. Okay. Okay. And here I can do R is B is G is -1. Okay, so it's initialized, it has a value. This should now let us parse all this stuff. Does this work, or don't I have one for that? Probably not. So I can do select to list. Okay, now I can do for each our game and games. Let's write out our result for now. Console.writeLine. So we can do game and then game.id. And then I can do game dot showing select x. No. So in this case, most of the challenge comes from actually parsing all these things. So we do it like that, and then we do a dot join. And we do string.join on this. So we do string.join. And we'll just use a comma here. And that should be it. So now if we say that we want to do day 2 here, it should at least just spit out all the data parsed. Okay, and we can see here that not everything always has data, so that is a good thing to notice right away. So let's go back. So for game 1, it shows blue and red, no green. So either my parsing is wrong. No, this one is correct. Let me see. Game 1. It didn't pick up the red, which is interesting. It didn't pick up. Okay, let's step through it. See where it went wrong. So these are 3 red, 3 blue, 4 red. I need to do this outside here. Okay, that probably already solves it. But I still need to account for the 0 values. In this case, the -1 should just be zeros. Let's initialize them to 0 because that just is just better. And also I need to do this every time, because if a color isn't hit twice in a row, it will keep a duplicate value of the previous one. So let's make sure that that works. So let's check. 4 red, 0 green, 3 blue, that's correct. 1 red, 2 green, 6 blue, that's correct. And here is just 2 green. Okay, so I think this is fine like it is. Okay, so now we need to set our thresholds. So let's do this in the part 1 piece actually. And the code of the challenge defined that we needed to have some limitations here. So we do const okay. And now we can do some link here. So now we do games where x and we do not accept showings at any y dot red larger than max red, or y dot green larger than max green, or y dot blue larger than max blue. Okay. So this one will take all of the ones that have any showings that exceed our threshold and then negate them. So we do var valid is this.array. We do console.writeLine part 1, and now we do valid.sum ID. So this should give 8, and I believe that was the correct answer here. So now let's not take the test input, but the real input. And that is 2,593. Okay. Woohoo! Part 1 done. Let's see what part 2 holds in store for us. Part 2. The elf says they've stopped producing snow because they aren't getting any water. He isn't sure why the water stopped, however, he can show you how to get to the water source to check out for yourself. It's just up ahead. As you continue your walk, the elf poses a second question. In each game you played, what is the fewest number of cubes of each color that could have been in the bag to make the game possible? So that's exactly what I said in the first part, right? So you get the max for each value. As you can, again, consider the example games from earlier. In game 1, the game could have been played with as few as 4 red, 2 green and 6 blue. If any color had even 1 fewer cube, the game would have been impossible. Game 2 could have been played with a minimum of 1 red, 3 green and 4 blue cubes, etc, etc, etc. The power of a set of cubes is equal to the number of red, green and blue cubes multiplied together. The power of the minimum set of cubes in game 1 is 48. And then, okay, adding up the 5 powers produces the sum, okay. Okay, so that is pretty easy. So what you then do is for part 2, we don't care about this, but instead we do the power. So that's game.showings dot max x dot red. So here we can do int max r, max g, max b, power sum. Okay. So let's do this. Max G is this but for green. Max B is this but for blue. Power is max R times max G times max B. Power sum. Come on. Like that. So max R, max G, max B. We don't care about this one. And now we do power sum. Part 2, and let's enable the test input again. 2286. Is that correct? Yes, 2286. So yeah, this is a fairly easy part 2, mostly because we have the power of link here, which saves us quite a bit of trouble, but yeah, it's not that special. So boom. And part 2 also done. Okay, this was a lot easier day than yesterday. Hey, welcome. SMAP UK, welcome to the stream. Nice to see you. It's yeah, I just finished, sorry. I just finished part 2. So yeah, this was, in my opinion, this was easier than yesterday. But yeah, the most trouble in this case comes from parsing. As you can see here, like this is all the parsing code, and this is the actual solving code, which isn't that complicated. So yeah, it was a nice day again, having fun, just in time. Yeah. Have you done your challenge yet? Have you done the day 2 yet and the day 1? Also drinking out of my Advent of Code mug again. Last year, when I quit Advent of Code because I just ran into some things and I didn't have any time. A friend of mine gave me this Advent of Code mug, and I got him into doing Advent of Code a while back. So he was like, "Have you used your Advent of Code mug yet?" And I was like, "No, I haven't done Advent of Code, so I think I'll save it for when I'm doing Advent of Code again." So, which language did you do it in, SMAP UK? Did you also use C#? And did you also find it fairly easy this time? Yeah, also in C#. Okay. Yeah, I'm curious to see what else they will do. This was fairly easy. After the yesterday's day 1, that was pretty... I really thought this was a hard problem. Not that it gave me a lot of trouble, but it was like more complicated to build. And maybe that's because I didn't go for a regex solution, but even those were fairly tricky. Yeah, I liked the added challenge right at the start. So yeah, looking forward to see what they'll do this year. Usually around like the last third of the challenges, you run into some things where you really have to either know some specific knowledge to get it done, or yeah. I remember the day, like the year that they had like the Chinese remainder theory that you needed to do, and yeah. I'm still struggle with some things because I like going back. I still need to finish some things for some years. I can't remember. There's don't remember if it's this one. 2020. Nope. I still need to do a few. This one is such a pain in the ass. I still need to rewrite this one because I have the code written. I did it in JavaScript just to see if I could figure it out. And like my code works fine for all the examples except for when it gets to this one, and then it just infinitely loops. So I need to change my approach there. But yeah, I'll if I have more time, I really want to go back to some of the older advent of codes and make complete the other ones as well. I still hate anything with path finding. I can imagine. I've gotten better at it, like all the search algorithms. I usually, like there was a year where you had to use a priority queue, and once I looked into that, a lot of the things got a lot easier, right? Having the right tools for the job just helps a lot. But yeah, I'll end it here and look forward to doing it again tomorrow. So thank you for keeping me company, Smap UK, even if it was just in the end. Yeah, I'll maybe next time share your solution as well and we'll go through it. I think it's not that interesting for day 1 now, but like if I look back at my code, let me see. Like this, I should use the pattern matching thing, the new, but I can't seem to remember it. So I should probably go back and rewrite stuff like this just to have it a bit nicer. I want to do stuff like that because this is pretty terse code for just the parsing, and I wrote these extensions in the past just to make it easier, but I can't even remember. I don't have the memory of how I did it, so I need to actually go back, relax, and try to use it again, because I have 2 solutions for day 1. Ah, sure. Yeah, I also, like at the end of yesterday's stream, somebody said, why don't you try regular expressions? And I did that, but in the end, let me show you, it didn't even work. I didn't check the output. So I found out that it didn't work the way that I did it with the replacement. And I saw later on Reddit that you need to actually have like if you do a replace method, you either need to preserve some of the things that you replace, so add in a small part after, or you need to make sure that you do the regex in reverse so that it does the overlap properly. So yeah, that was funny. Let me see. Yeah, I'll take a look at it later. I don't think you can paste links here. Probably have to do that via Discord, but it's running late. If you leave the links, I'll look at it at the start. So yeah, thanks for keeping me company, and hopefully see you tomorrow. Bye bye.